Hi, my name's Jackie Palacios, and I want to show you what teaching looked like these past 2 years. But before we get into everything, let's back up. When I graduated, I had no idea what to expect. My parents told me to get a job. I interviewed with Teach for America because a recruiter came to my school and I aligned with their mission, even though I didn't really know what it all meant. 2 weeks after graduation, I moved to Houston, Texas to start my journey. I started teaching in August of 2019. I called my class the Stars. As a teacher, I learned about myself. I learned about my own faults. I learned about patience. I learned about empathy and compassion. I learned how valuable a phone call is to a parent. I learned how important it is to build relationships. I also learned about love and how much love I could feel. When the pandemic hit, I felt so much for my kids and their families. I was in California when everything shut down for spring break, and I taught virtually from there until May. My school called over 300 families to set up appointments to provide each family with Chromebooks and Wi-Fi. Then, I got to see their faces on Google Meet almost every day. Learning may have been difficult. I definitely tried to make sure to prioritize the well-being of my students virtually. When I returned from California, it was late May. I wanted to do something special for them because they're kids and moving to a new grade level is always such a big deal. So I made t-shirts, printed out photos, and my boyfriend drove me to every single kid's house. I left their presents on doorsteps, and just to see their faces after months of not seeing each other, I'll never forget how happy that made my heart feel. And hopefully theirs too. But I think it's important to know I'm not an exemplary teacher. Teachers all over the country are doing things like this. Some have been doing these gestures and acts of kindness for years. One of the most important jobs as a teacher is connecting and building relationships. But for some odd reason, teachers are expected to be magical beings and solve all the world's problems, and that's just not the case. Teachers are people, flawed, and learning too. Teachers are simultaneously awesome and tired all of the time, and that's okay. The combination of the hours, physical demand, pressure from administrators, pressure from parents, pressure from students, the actual stress of dealing with 20 to 100 students in your classroom, in and out every single day, creating lessons, engaging lessons, attending planning meetings, making copies, grading, testing, teaching. It's an endless cycle of unimaginable work. On a typical day, I get up at 5 a.m. to get to work by 6:30. I teach until 12:30 without a break. Then, at 12:30, I get a break until 1:20 unless I have trainings or meetings. Then I go straight through with no breaks. Start teaching again at 1:20 and go until 3. After students go home, we often have more meetings and planning time when, we actually plan for the next day and make copies or grade papers. I usually arrive home around 5 p.m. That's a 12-hour day. So, let's do the math. I make $56,000 a year as a teacher, and that's more than a lot of teachers in this country make. I get paid bi-weekly, and my typical paycheck is around $18.50 for 2 weeks. At 12 hours each day, 5 times a week, that's 60 hours. And most teachers would agree with me here that 60 hours is on the low side of estimating the hours we are working. But for the sake of the argument, let's go with 60. 60 per week times 2 for 2 weeks is 120. $18.50 divided by 120, that comes out to $15.42. $15.42 an hour. That's how much teachers make. And that's coming from a decent salary and a low estimate of our hours. Let that sink in. If you haven't gotten one of my main points by now, teachers deserve better pay. Straight up. If this pandemic hasn't shown how essential and hardworking teachers truly are, then I'm not sure anything will ever wake our society up. Some politicians are seeing these concerns.
We are not paying our teachers their value.
We have got to have a salary that reflects the importance of this job.
But we need more allies. We need more than conversation and press. We need real change. Teachers deserve respect. After all, everyone needs an advocate. The kids need someone to push them, parents need resources, but one group that isn't discussed nearly as much as they should be is teachers. Teachers need an advocate. We're not always mentally, physically, or emotionally available to advocate for ourselves. It's the sad truth, but so often teachers are put in unfair positions. We need more pay, but we're too tired to fight for that. We need safety and vaccines and prioritization in crisis situations, but we're too tired to fight for that. While people talk about teaching being so noble, sometimes I feel like no one cares. This notion of those who can't teach is so toxic in our society. The person you become as a teacher is a person who can do any job. You do what the job asks of you, and in teaching, it asks everything of you at one point or another. Teachers are responsible for making students learn and believe in themselves. Every doctor, lawyer, engineer, mechanic, professor, every person has had a teacher believe in them. So, as a society, why can't we believe in teachers? What harm comes in giving teachers what they truly deserve?